you with your family and friends. So let us welcome again to this, continuing series of the member spotlight. So as we all have heard and known that boardrooms are a place where the fortunes of great companies are written, and where each person in the boardroom, may it be a CEO, a CXO, a CFO, the managing directors, they play a very crucial role in their own ways. So, Mentor My Board today is a brand known to the Finance Minister of India and the governance evangelist, Dr. Kiran Bedi, too. So, we've launched various initiatives like the Boardroom Mastery Certification Program for the promoter directors, WOMB, that is Women on Management and Boards for Women Directors, IDEAL, that is Independent Directors Education and Learning for the Independent Directors, so on and so forth. We believe in continuous learning, engagement, and upskilling of directors and promoters. Uh, uh, we've had blogs, videos, various coffee meets on the platform of Mentor My Board. So we request all of you to join us in this momentum of good governance by logging into the platform of Mentor My Board at www.mentormyboard.com. In the pursuit of building these better governed boards with effective directors, we strive in creating a community of 100,000 directors and creating opportunities for the board aspirants too. We are co creating this platform for the best corporate governance tools, resources, and upskilling that a director would need. It will act as a one stop solution for everything that a director would think about. This member spotlight series that we are today hosting, right? So, this is a series which recognizes the members' growth, their credibility, who is under the spotlight, and it's a concept where we recognize our valued members. So, with me today, we welcome Mr. Nayan Maskai. And let me give you a short brief about what Nayan's journey has been all about, and we will be definitely listening from him as well. But Nayan has a rich experience of 25 plus years in the food industry. He's managed over 200 plus staff members across the manufacturing units. He's implemented food safety management system and managed the budgets of these key departments. He's completed an ESG Proficient Director program to provide the governance and oversight of the companies. He's consulted and customized trainings of global standards for this food safety. He's set up industry, productions, and operations for these. He's handled food safety audits and accreditation of food safety management systems. Under sustainability, he has played an active part in the sustainability projects. He has created a teams for food safety production and operations, and provided customized training for the staff at all levels. So I'm very happy to welcome Nayan, you to this series of member spotlight. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction as well. I'm sure these initiatives curated by Mentor My Board help individual members to connect at another level also after we get to know each other better. So it's a very well curated event. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much, Nayan, for these appreciating words, and it really means a lot. So, let me deep dive into your journey. So, if you can give us a small brief about how your 25 years, 25 plus years of experience has been in total. So, what is it that are the best parts of your journey? If you can share with us in a
Sure,
nutshell.
sure. So, my journey started with a family business of spices exports. We were
Okay.
more into like merchant exporters, like getting job work done for manufacturing and all.
Hmm.
Then we realized that if we are really serious in the food business and want to target clients which are good, well-known food companies globally, they would buy from us only if we have manufacturing and all the other controls in our own jurisdiction rather than job work getting done outside. So that was our first foray into manufacturing of spices. Then we were trendsetters into, thinking ahead out of the box from the industry because there were people from more than 50 years. So why would someone prefer buying from a new person altogether? So
True.
we worked with R&D and D and science background in mind. We solved problems which existed and which were foreseeing that would come in the food industry as mandatory statutory requirements under regulations. So we went ahead with those practices as leaders in the market, first time to do these, and so we got a good foothold in the well-known names in the food business, and the learning has never stopped since then.
So nice. So nice to hear about this journey. So can you share some key strategies that you have employed to effectively manage teams of 200 plus staff members? So when I introduced you, you've written that
Yes,
you've
yes,
trained them and you've
yes.
worked with them. So please
Right.
share some strategies around it.
Sure. So you see, first of all, when you are having a large scale group of say 200 plus or how much ever, even if you are talking of 10 people in a small industry, the main thing has to be standardizations so that
Hmm.
everyone thinks in the same manner.
Hmm.
So there is a lot of stress I always give to companies on induction training. Like in India, the common concept is daily wage workers working on the shop floors. So,
True.
the normal mindset is, like if we pay entire day's wage and don't get any work done, every entire day goes in training, we are wasting our wages and all. So
Right.
that mindset I have tried to, get into another perspective because it is like investing into the person for, problem free work from his end. He has to be, clearly he has to understand what is the culture in the organization, what are the food safety policies and, objectives of the organization, why he's asked to follow certain SOPs to do certain practices in his work. So it is very important that he understands why he's asked to do these things,
Hmm.
because so that is a main thing whereby a proper identification of training needs also comes into play because every organization is different there. So you have to identify the training needs at all levels and then make a training module accordingly and get everyone thinking with the same philosophy of the organization, so everyone is in tune with what is expected to be done and how.
True. So they are aligned basically to the organizational growth goals and they can
Yes,
work accordingly. And you very rightly mentioned that, you're investing in those human assets and it
yes,
is not only, your expenditure, but it is your
yes,
investment on them. So very
right,
nicely, the
right.
point that you've highlighted. So what is the kind of leadership style or the leadership approach that you have? Or, what is your leadership
Yes,
style and how is it dynamic in this fast paced industry of the food manufacturing used?
got it. So basically, just keep it simple. Lead by example. Be approachable to, your team at all levels. There
Hmm.
shouldn't be any other hierarchies and all those important positions are there, but keep yourself approachable if you are in the top management. Anyone can just speak to you if they want to communicate anything whatsoever. And that has helped a lot into a lot of suggestions also coming in from the people who are actually doing the work. And it's
Right.
not always making large amount investments or resources. Sometimes a practical suggestion by the worker who's dealing in some activity every day can also increase a lot of efficiency by just fine tuning certain things which may not need so much expense also.
True.
And follow the requirements of basic food safety management systems which you have decided to go for. I'm mentioning this because I am more in with the food industry, but any standards you implement of ISO, there are so many and all. So basically just understand the requirements of the standard, what it is asking for. So awareness training is very important, especially with food industry, at every step. What are the, hazards possible at every step, be it chemical, biological, or physical hazards also. So involving people, making them take ownership as to why they are doing certain things, and if there is a lapse from their side, even if it is unintentional, what is the drastic impact it can have? It can, because you are playing with food, so you are playing with someone's life if you
Exactly.
mess it. So you may be indirectly responsible even in an unintentional manner, taking away life of someone who may be the only earning member of a certain family.
Very
So
true.
I am also involved in this movement. My colleague in Europe who does a lot of trainings there also, he started this movement called I am slow, SLO. So we
Okay.
people call ourselves SLOs, means saving lives officers.
Oh,
So you
wow.
see, when we are into the food safety management, So whatever acts we are doing is finally impacting the safety of the product which we will be consuming. So it is
Okay.
directly saving lives of people if you do things with the first time right approach and have all the possible risks covered already. So
Hmm.
because you see, you will be having records and all the other documentation as your due diligence, and also these are for record purposes used as mere tools. But your
True.
mindset should be the I am slow movement, saving life officer. So
Wow.
that has actually, when I've conveyed that during my consultation and training, even to simple basic housekeeping staff who's not very educated or anything, it really motivates them, that they are involved into saving lives of people. So
True. It
that
gives them a
mindset
purpose.
makes a big impact.
Right. It gives them a higher purpose to work for. Right. Very true. Very true. And you so nicely mentioned that, why don't you make it your tagline, kind of, Nayan Maskai, I am a slow. So that's a kind of
I have
suggestion.
I am slow cap also, which normally I wear around. Today I have not worn it, and I go around. So it's a conversation starter also, in some places or some networking places, if we are visiting in a casual environment where I can wear a cap, instead of a
Very
formal.
true.
So they ask, what is I am slow? So it begins a conversation across this mindset.
Very true, very true. And when those people are, the lower level people are touched, they would work with their hearts in the
Yes.
system. So I totally agree. And you have to be approachable to them. So the leadership style that you mentioned is so relevant to the work that you're already doing, and it is so apt for the work that you're doing. I'm so happy that you mentioned about it. Thank you, Nan. So my next question to you is, could you provide some insights into this food safety management system implementations that you've done in your previous role, and what are the kind of challenges that you have encountered, and how is it
Yes.
that you have addressed them?
Yeah. So you see, my company name ACE stands for Audit Compliant Excel.
Right,
So, you prepare yourself, for the audits, for the standards that you decide to go for.
right,
You comply with all the requirements of the standard and then excel in your business in different areas. Because if basics are in place, things are easy to flow around later.
very true.
So basically, it is very, very important to connect with the staff at all levels. Like, for example, you see, when there are specific trainings given to people at a senior level or something, it's fine to do it in your conference room with presentations, PPTs, all that. But
Right,
when you are talking of the grassroots people in the factory, who are actually running your operations, be it housekeeping, which is a very, very important operation in the food industry for hygiene, sanitation, and all the required cleanliness required in processing food areas,
true.
and your staff who's dealing with food. Now, you see, those who are working on the machine, dealing with products, or those who are handling housekeeping, they traditionally in India, you will never find graduates doing these roles. So
Right,
you have to understand that they are not coming from a so-called educated background, what we would call. So if I have to give them training regarding their ways of doing their work or some specific things, if I ask them to come into a conference room, which environment they are not used to, I show them a big projector, they will disconnect straight away. They will
right.
not sink in with what you are trying to say. So you've lost the audience attention in the first minute itself.
Correct.
So
Very
you address gatherings around the shop floor where they are actually working. Have them group around there. Talk to them casually in their local language, Hindi or any Marathi, or depending on your area of work. Hindi is usually accepted by all. So there you don't need a PPT or anything. So
right.
you are with your same, PPE kits, you are walking in their factories with shoe covers, hair nets, and all those things. So you are also following their policies and requirements, and then you are meeting them in their work area where they are very comfortable to be around. And
True.
then you are just casually talking to them like a conversation and imparting knowledge to what is required in their own language. And when you are meeting there in their own den, they will give you the attention.
Very true.
compared to a conference room for that level. So you have to be very smart in your approaches. And you see, you have organizations doing the similar products, but they will be different in size, different ways in operating systems. Some may be having more automation, some may be having less automation. So as I said, identifying the training needs is the base to go ahead with whatever you decide to do.
Hmm.
And connect with them accordingly, and train them on what are the risks involved if they go wrong even unintentionally, the way I already said. Because you see, even when the senior management or the top management is sleeping at the night, these people are continuing in the night shift and working for the company.
True.
So
True.
it is important that when the people who are actually setting goals for the organization are having a peaceful sleep, these kind of approaches will ensure they have a peaceful sleep without any surprises in the morning when they get up with blunders.
So true, so relevant to the industry that you're currently working at. I agree to what you're saying, because it so happens that while the top management is totally unaware about the everyday things that are happening on the shop floor, but then it is still very essential for them to know those nitty gritties and be with them to get those things out of them. So yes, I
One
agree.
small point I may just like to add here, what has actually helped with my experience I'm sharing. You see, we have work instructions and signages of policies and everything around, good factories, whichever industry they belong to. So
Right.
I have laid a lot of stress on, in addition to the English signages, which are normally done for the auditors or for the visitors or whatever, it
Hmm.
is very critical that you also have these work instruction and signages of how to wash hands or any other basics in the local Hindi language with some, demo pictures kind of a thing. So it helps in refresher trainings. And even when any outsider is your prospective client, your existing client, or some food safety auditors or technical team from your clients are visiting, they will also feel more assured when they see these signages and work instructions specifically in the local language, so that people are actually understanding. So they will be more comfortable dealing with such companies.
Very true, very true. You rightly said that, man. And how is it that you ensure, but then that these food safety standards that we are speaking about are constantly met while the managing budgets and the operational efficiency is also, taken care about? Because these are the two things which are, the core of the heart of the business.
Yes, yes.
So please throw some light on
So you
this.
see, generally in global standards for food safety, there are different standards available, but more or less whichever standard we follow, 95% requirements are the same. 5% personal variations are there as per standard. And most of these standards are updated every 3 to 4 years. So whenever that update happens, we have to, ensure that the relevant key team members of the food safety team, not all the workers, but the main team members, go through the required training on understanding what are the new updates and what is it that they will have to change. And accordingly, they can pass on the required knowledge down the line, and also, uh, update their paperworks as per requirements and the required update of the standards. And some basic budgets for these things have all have to be sort of set of kept aside, which is not a very huge budget in these kind of trainings. And uh, when we do analysis on root cause analysis or risk assessments, it is critical that the staff is aware of these things, because when you find the right root cause analysis of a particular problem, only then you will be able to maybe allocate some budget or resources to get rid of that problem, to ensure that it is not repeated again. And
Hmm.
there is a common system of trend analysis that I follow, whether it be different types of customer complaints, or it can be machine breakdown hours, or number of hours taken to change the equipment between two products. So all these can also, if you do a proper trend analysis, you can always find some variation in the time taken and all. So once these are available to you, only then you can take the respective actions, to make it more efficient. Your efficiencies are improved, not necessarily by giving budgets, but by just basic training for the workers to understand, where they are wasting time and how they can do things better.
Right, right, right. And how has been, so we've seen that, you're also passionate about sustainability and you've done a corporate governance course about it, the ESG proficiency course about it.
Yes,
So,
yes.
how have you integrated a passion of this ESG or sustainability into your work while ensuring that it aligns with the ethical and the sustainable practices as well?
Right. So you see, basically, sustainability has been very close to my heart before I even heard the term ESG some time back. So we are working when I was into the spices business, like, for more than 25 years now. From about 6 years, I've moved out of the family business, but there I was directly involved with a lot of activities, and we worked a lot on the sustainability aspect at the farm level, especially in the Guntur region, which is the world's largest red chili growing area, and also for turmeric. Now, red chilies always had a lot of pesticide residue issues. Globally, India was
True.
facing issues. So we started with the sustainability aspects to, work on chemical free and, non-pesticide management of chilies and all in the farm levels. And that is where we actually, that is something that was the closest to my heart, and where we have, uplifted close to 750 or maybe 800 families altogether by following right practices, training them, and a lot of things that we done. And the actual, epitome of women empowerment was done there.
Oh,
Because you see, more
and
than
how was
20 years
that?
back, yeah, I'll explain to you. Like more than 20 years back, we did not really have chemicals in use, for pesticides and all. So
Right.
how were we manufacturing at that time with the farmers? So, in the Guntur region, we had our R&D development of people who could speak local Telugu language and all. So we used to visit the farmers' places, and in the huts, the old grandfathers and all were just lying on the khatia without anything to do as retired people and all. They just need their
True.
quarter in the night, nothing else. So we spoke to them, during your days, how are you doing things?
Hmm.
And with their children never bothered to ask. They were moving with time. And all these pesticide manufacturing companies, with all due respects, they really know how to get clients. They'll offer free TV, free refrigeration, and whatnot. You can go to the
Oh, for the
regional areas, and
pesticides, is it?
you go to regional areas, ma'am, and you can see the kind of advertisements they do to lure customers, especially the farmers. They would want a free TV, and they say, chalo, pesticide se कीड़ा तो मर रहा है, हमको टीवी भी मिल रहा है, फ्रिज भी मिल रहा है. So, you know, after we started implementing these practices, like it's a very long area to cover, I'll just keep it brief. So, they stopped having any sort of medical expenses, because those chemicals prey on your skin and you have a lot of other issues coming, health
For
issues,
sure.
skin issues. So their visit to the hospitals also got less. So their savings increased. People on cycles started taking two wheelers took to cars, and the whole. And we trained the women of the villages, coming back to your point of women empowerment. So under trees, like when they see standard of living increasing in the village areas, the nearby villagers also come to know, and they get curious. So they start asking what you do. So like these women became like teachers of the village. So under a
Oh,
nice tree which has a good shade, the other women of the nearby villages came. They taught them what to do, how to do, and actual women empowerment took place. Because you see, without chemicals, one of the major composition they used in the natural form of pesticides, which are chemical free, is cow urine.
correct.
Today I can share it to you, and like you test thousands of samples, it is totally safe with the micro aspects and anything else. So where do you get so many cows all of a sudden in a village? So they started adopting cows.
Hmm.
So they have a cow with them. Cow dung is used. Cow is a industry in itself. You'll
Industry.
get
True.
you'll get fertilizers from the cow dung. You'll get cow urine. You'll start taking milk from the cow. Now, how much does a family need milk? So there's so
True.
much of excess milk. So like Amul, in that region, all these ladies of nearby villages who adopted these practices and kept cows in their homes and all, they had so much extra milk which they made money by selling to not size of Amul, but a similar dairy industry there, where they used to give daily supply of milk and earn money. So their standard of living, everything went up. So this is
Right.
actual woman empowerment. So the
True.
men used to work in the farms and the ladies took care of a lot of other important activities.
Very true. And after all, those cows would be used in the farms as well, if I'm not wrong.
They normally keep them in the home only. They
Okay.
don't really take them
Oh,
out.
okay.
But there were so many other things. Like this is a very big topic to cover in detail.
I
But these are
totally
just some aspects. So this is just to get my link with sustainability practices at the farm levels and all before I heard the term ESG. And of
true.
course, after I heard about it and I got in touch with Captain Tapas from the sustainability practitioner, and I was in one of his initial or maybe first batch, if I remember, or if I may be right, for ESG Proficient Director program. So that was a very enriching experience. And I would like to thank him to introduce me to Mentor My Board, which I was not aware
True.
of. So
True.
after my course, I became a member here, and the journey of knowledge just continues. I always tell my son who's in grade 12, there's something that nobody can ever take from me, irrespective of what age or what part of the world or financial condition I may be in, is my hunger for knowledge. I said today, anybody you interact with in day-to-day life will teach you something provided you are ready to learn.
Very true. So you should be open and let the energy or let the thoughts flow through you, and it becomes a channel of,
So thanks to MMB, I could enroll for your wonderfully curated, boardroom mastery program. So I was lucky to have, 5 sessions with different mentors who are experts in their own fields, and it was such a well curated program covering so many important aspects, about board and business successions and ESG in the boardrooms, which is now the most happening word we come across. How to ace in the board meetings with a mock board meeting environment also, which makes you learn so much. Finance, which is not my forte, but that session also helped me. Like if I become an independent director, how do I ensure, that I am not taken for a ride in this important aspect? Emotional intelligence was a very thoughtful area covered as well, which is normally not covered in the routine discussions. But all these trainings really help you in your day to day, working life for sure.
thank you. Thank you so much, Nayan, for these humble words, and it really means a lot.
If only I would be introduced to this program, few years back when I was actively involved in my family business, maybe, we could have taken it to another level even faster.
So everything has its own time and
Yes,
its own
yes.
pace. Things will
Absolutely.
happen on that particular time only. So maybe something
Absolutely.
good was written for you now, and it will give you
Absolutely.
a fruitful value too. Perfect. So could you share some instance where you provided some customized trainings, or the consultancy service in this food industry, and what is
Hmm.
the impact that you have created through those interventions?
You see, in India, one of the most neglected part, specifically with food in mind, is allergens.
Hmm.
Today in US and all, I have some of my cousins and all, they're like, my niece nephew, my niece is allergic to nuts. Here
Oh,
to hum बैठे बैठे we'll have 50 gram of peanuts in one session just talking around, and we do
exactly.
not really know the impact of if someone is having allergy. It
Hmm.
is a life threatening problem. And
Very
here,
true.
unfortunately, nobody thinks about allergens. Like
Very
even in the food industry, there are so many products you deal with either as ingredients, if not your final product. But there may be allergens in that. So you
hmm.
never know if some of your staff is allergic to those things. Forget
Hmm.
about the consumers, which are at a later stage. But like, today, be it any food company manufacturer or any person who's running the organization or the staff or the owners, see, everything is running from the money that your customer is giving you at the end of the day.
So true.
So, and
Correct.
ethics is, I became a certified compliance and ethics professional in Jan 2018, which was against the first batch from the Compliance and Ethics Academy
Hmm.
of the Legacies Group.
Hmm.
So for me, compliance and ethics come before anything. So I always tell, if I'm dealing with top management as prospective clients, also I want to understand their culture. Like if ethics is
Very
not in place, I will politely refuse because I don't want to deal with such people and spoil my name or
very
anything as well. So
very
if
true.
you don't have ethics in place, at least the food industry is not the industry you would like to get into. That would be my advice. I'm not saying you be unethical in other industries, but when you talk of specifically food, which is directly, impacting lives of people, like if you don't have ethics, food industry is the wrong industry for you. This is what is my
True.
standard statement everywhere. And this is very, very important. You can't run away from this. So allergen awareness training programs, how to handle allergens if they are at your site, and that's another very detailed thing. So these things, once taken care of, it helps a lot in the long run also to protect the lives and health of your own staff who are working and directly dealing with these products firsthand. So
Right,
that
right,
becomes
right.
very important.
Very nice. So, Nayan, if I have to ask you, you as a person, what are your key mantras of success? What is it that you follow to succeed?
See, I may sound repetitive, but have your ethics in place. And if your ethics and values are in place, everything else will follow. And I personally don't put a lot of stress on the commercials. Of course, money is important for every aspect of business and everything.
True.
But don't give it priority above your passion for something that you have decided to do, be it your business, your profession, or any other work profile that you may be handling as an individual or at a bigger level also. Because if your passion is in place, no, and if you're doing things with the first time right approach with everything required, the commercials will always follow, because
Very
you
true.
will sell at what is up, accepted in the market in the right pricing range, and all that all businesses are geared up to. So if your ethics and
Very
all the passions are in place, commercials will always follow. So my mantra is, don't just go for short term extra money, think of long term. That if someone, you retainership of clients is a very big thing in today's growing market. So if
yes,
you
of
do
course.
things right, don't give a reason to your customer to move away from you and look at options. Now, one of the
Right.
biggest things that can help you in doing that is not being too, focused with commercials. Like you say, in commodities, when we talk of food, the markets are very volatile. Prices go up,
Very,
down here and there. So if you have
yes.
long-term clients, don't try to take advantage of them when the markets are behaving otherwise and you have stock. Of course, you are in the business, you will make that extra money, but don't go beyond a point where the client may look at other options since you are quoting very high. So just keep your
Right.
basics in place and everything else will follow.
Very nice. Thank you, Nayan. It was really an enriching discussion. You've had really amazing comments on LinkedIn and on various channels of Mentor My Board, where it is streaming live today, and people have been, appreciating you. So, Mr. Satish MK, Mr. Ashok Prabhu have, expressed their feelings over the social media. You can
I would
go and
convey
check
my
it out.
personal thanks to them and on this platform, at least till now.
Sure, sure. Happy to do so, and they would be happy to hear it from you as well. And I hope to continue these enriching discussions with you in the future as well,
Sure, ma'am.
Nayan.
Look forward to other members in the spotlight and know them better as well.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
and
much.
thank you for joining
My
us.
pleasure. Thank you so much.